I just thought, I feel so terrible. I need to try something just to get out of this funk. So I just went to a Subway, got a sub, and I had my laptop with me, and I just opened it up and wrote a long Facebook message to a friend. I recollected experiences we had and all the fun we had, and just through the process of writing, I could see my mood shift. It was like one of the most extraordinary shifts, like in terms of going from the dark to the light, like in a moment of 5 minutes, right? My entire mood shifted, my body language shifted, everything I felt shifted. And I sent it, and I don't like he didn't read it for a couple of days later. But the moment I sent it, I felt it. This was like one of the most powerful things I've ever done, and that led me to a rabbit hole of researchers from labs all around the world, from Stanford to Harvard to everywhere, which talks about all the beneficial effects of gratitude. And it just seemed like something that people should know. Like it's such a powerful tool. If this can change my perspective in a matter of 5 minutes, I was wondering how much of an impact it can have in people's life if they practice over a longer course of their life. And it's just got me thinking on ideas on how I can make this more accessible to people.
Welcome to the Gratitude Podcast on www.georgianbenta.com, where you'll hear a new story each week that will inspire more gratitude in your own life. Our mission is to inspire 100,000 people to discover how to feel gratitude and live a happy life through the amazing life stories of our successful guests and their actionable tips. And now, the host of our podcast, Georgian Benta.
Hi, Gratitude Seeker. Welcome to a new episode of the Gratitude Podcast. Today, with me, I have Justin Sebastian. He is a full-time mobile developer, and most importantly for us, he is the founder of 365 Gratitude Journal and Grateful Community. The Gratitude Journal that Sebastian has created is one of the best in the world. It has over 250,000 people using it and is actually the number one app for cultivating a grateful mindset. And he is here today with us to talk about his own experience, his own story regarding gratitude, and also how and what determined him to create the Grateful app. So, Justin, welcome to the Gratitude Podcast. Let us know a little bit more about you that I didn't say until now.
Thanks for having me, and I really enjoy your podcast. So, just a little bit about me. I grew up in Saudi Arabia. I'm from India, but I spent most of my adult life in US. So I've been kind of traveling a lot throughout my life as I grew up. And the way the app came about was it was a strange story. So I was working in Austin, and one day I decided, over the course of a few weeks, I decided, hey, I wanted to explore the world, because I just never felt at home when I was in US. Because I never felt at home anywhere I was, because it was, I always kept moving, because I never felt at home at US, I never felt at home at India, I never felt at home in Saudi. And I just, it was a weird paradox, because it was home, but it was not really. I just didn't feel like I belonged there. And a quote always came to my mind, was the one from Maya Angelou, which said, "You're free when you realize you belong in no place. You belong every place, no place at all." Which is odd when you hear it, but then it made sense to me at that time. And I decided, hey, I need to travel and explore. So I was inspired by Tim Ferriss' podcast and a book called Vagabonding. It's called The Uncommon Guide and the Art of Long-Term Travel. So I set up on I was planning for a 6-month backpacking trip around South America, and so in the beginning, it was fun at the beginning, but then soon I realized backpacking was not my thing. It was too fast. It was going too fast, and I just didn't like all the movement and all that stuff. So I decided to stay in Colombia for 3 months, and I just enjoyed it. I just enjoyed just traveling in a slow pace, staying at a place for a few months, uh, getting accustomed to the culture, the people, especially in Colombia. Coming back to the gratitude, one of the things you notice is Colombia economically is not one of the most prosperous countries, but in one interesting thing you notice is in all happiness scale, you'll see Colombia as one of the happiest countries in the world, which is an interesting paradox because uh, most people would assume the economic prosperity is correlated with happiness, but I mean that's not the case there, and the reason I think is which I've observed over there is just people appreciate life more over there. They look at the simple things in life, and they create an attitude of gratitude to to enjoy the daily the weather, or I mean they're big on their fruits. They love their fruits, so I guess that was kind of the seed for the gratitude app. But I mean it kind of took over. I remember the day I had the idea because it was right after a night of partying. Colombia is known for their parties, and it was a crazy day. And the next day I woke up and I just felt terrible. Like it was one of the worst feelings I've ever felt, and it just felt like, I don't know, maybe because of all the alcohol and all everything I did the day before. I just fell down, and I just, it was one of those days where you had this existential questions. What am I doing with my life? Where is this going? It doesn't make any sense. Like, am I wasting my life? I had like the job I left was one that I loved and I was good at, and now I'm just traveling, and all these questions came up in my mind. And I came across a podcast by Tim Ferriss again, which said one of the most influential things he does on a monthly basis is he writes a gratitude letter to someone of his friends, or someone he knows. And I just thought, I feel so terrible. I need to try something just to get out of this funk. So I just went to a Subway, got a sub, and I had my laptop with me, and I just opened it up and wrote a long Facebook message to a friend, like I recollected experiences we had and all the fun we had, and just through the process of writing, I could see my mood shift. It was like one of the most extraordinary shifts, like in terms of going from the dark to the light. Like in a moment of 5 minutes, right? My entire mood shifted. My body language shifted. Everything I felt shifted, and I sent it, and I don't like he didn't read it for a couple of days later. But the moment I sent it, I felt it. This was like one of the most powerful things I've ever done, and that led me to a rabbit hole of researchers from labs all around the world, from Stanford to Harvard to everywhere, which talks about all the beneficial effects of gratitude. And it just seemed like something that people should know. Like it's such a powerful tool. If this can change my perspective in a matter of 5 minutes, I was wondering how much of an impact it can have in people's life if they practice over a longer course of their life. And it's just got me thinking on ideas on how I can make this more accessible to people. And I just worked on the app. I was a mobile developer, so I knew how to make apps. So I just started. I had this idea of journal. I thought I'll make a journal. I'll have people write letters within the journal and send them to other people. I had and I created. I paused my backpacking trip for 2 months. I mean, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a pause. I'm just going to sit down there and make this app for 2 months. I remember I didn't do. I slept, I ate, and I worked. That's all I did. And then I released it. And even then, I just thought it was just going to be a side project. A few people are going to use it. I mean, for me, that was good enough, right? If a handful of people used it and if it helped some people, then I think I did my purpose. But here we are. I think it's like 2.5 years since then, and it's almost 250,000 downloads, and it's been a great ride so far.
Amazing. I love your story, and I love the fact that you're like a global citizen, like I don't know how I should think about it, like uh, Saudi Arabia, India, Texas, US, and right now, where are you right now, by the way?
I'm in Malaysia right now. Yeah, so
Amazing.
it's funny because like I meet a lot of people, travelers and people around living here, and the hardest question for me to answer is where you're from. Like I was just like, I guess I have to explain all this background about like I'm from India, but not really from Saudi Arabia, but I'm a U.S. citizen and traveling now. But it's been fun, and it feels uh, I feel like this I like this lifestyle of I live in a place for 3 to 4 months, and then I move to a new place. Like I can't handle the constant movement, as a typical backpacker would do. I tried it, and it's not for me. But I like the slow pace, getting to know a place, getting to know the culture, getting to know the people, and you see how similar people are, how people all over the world wants the same things. Once they're all pursuing happiness, they're trying to have a family, have kids, take care of their kids, and have a wife. And like it kind of brings like, I mean, right now looking back, I feel like I'm home everywhere I go, because it just feels like everyone. I can feel like shared humanity everywhere I go. Yeah.
That's wonderful. And I really appreciate and I really love your perspective because you can see all of the things that make us human, that are everywhere. And I think this is so valuable. And one of those things that I believe that are universal, like I think there are two. So one of them is love, and the other is gratitude. And
Mm-hmm.
I think wherever you go and in whichever religious view you get to, gratitude and love are at the base of everything in my experience and in my opinion. And I think it's amazing to be able to see so many cultures and to see what people have in common, and the things that make us different. And I love the example about Colombia, the fact that they are grateful and appreciative of their life in spite of
Mm-hmm.
their economical problems and stuff. I think that's a pretty amazing example, and it can help us see that we can be grateful in circumstances that aren't that easy. And I know that in your community, on your app, there are so many people that have amazing stories.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the things that I love about your app is the fact that you have there like the social media
Mm-hmm.
for people practicing gratitude. And I think that's just amazing. Like it's like Facebook, but just with gratitude.
Yes, because one of the things I noticed was like gratitude is so much more powerful when you have a community behind it. I mean, what you're doing with this podcast is the same thing. You're creating a community behind it, because gratitude is not something you do alone. It's so much more powerful with the community. And when you see, and one of the best things I do every day is just scrolling through the community posts, and you see people appreciate so many different things in their life, from like people who suffer from medical conditions, to people who are people who are really well off. They all have like we all have a common, as you said, a common uh, desire to pursue love and gratitude. And you see that in the community. Like people share they're grateful for their children, for their parents, for their friends, for the food they eat. I mean, this is everyone, right? We are all, despite the differences, you can see the common thread among all the people. And that's my favorite feature of the app too. Just seeing other people and talking to other people. You can like, you can comment, you can share. And yeah, I like being close to the users and talking to them, and it's a fun experience.
Yes, and I've seen, like you said, so many stories, so many interesting people from all around the world, and like I think I saw people from South Korea, from the U.S., of course, like from so many places, and that is just amazing. The fact that they felt that the app is helping them
Mhm.
to have this habit and to be able to share it, to not be alone in this pursuit for happiness, for a new appreciation of life. And another thing that I really love about your app is the gratitude jar. Like one thing that uh, for me it's like I have a challenge with, at least, is to keep too many objects. Like I like to have not to have too many objects to take care of, to
Mhm.
move around if I need to. And having a gratitude gratitude jar that's not physical, it's virtual. uh, I think that's quite a beautiful idea. And basically, it works like a physical gratitude jar, but it's virtual, and you can also add pictures there, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad you like that feature because that's a recent feature I added, and so there's this common knowledge about not common in the gratitude community. There's a common information about gratitude jar, and I'm like you. I'm a minimalist, and I travel with just two bags. Everywhere I go, all my belongings big fit in two bags, and I didn't want to actually buy a gratitude jar and carry it with me. So this is a feature, like many of the features I create in the app. It was to solve my own problem, and just to collect moments of gratitude. So I'm walking somewhere and I see something beautiful, the trees, or I want to save pictures of my friends and family, or something like that. I can just open the app and put a message in there. It's similar to dropping a note inside the gratitude jar. You just open it up, put it in, and it's saved there for you to come back and check on later on. And it's interesting, like if over the course of like a month or a couple months you do this, and when you come back and look at some of your older entries, it's just it's weird. It's weird how much it affects you. Like when you look back, you say, oh yeah, because most of the time we are so involved in our lives, we forget all the things we have. We have in our life, all the things we take for granted, our family, our relationship, and having a reminder in your hand that you have all these things to be grateful for is a powerful tool. And it's one of the features that was most commonly asked for by the users as well. So I'm glad it's out there and people are enjoying it.
Yeah, definitely. And also the interaction in the community, I wanted to add that is quite amazing. Like you can comment on other people's gratitude posts and things of this nature. And I think it's really brilliant. It's it's so similar to what I had in mind. I
Mhm.
wanted to create a similar app, and that's why I've been talking with Justin for some months now about partnering up and doing something together, because I really think it's the best app on gratitude and on gratitude journaling that's out there. I really done a thorough research on this topic because I wanted to create something very similar. And an important component of what I wanted to create was gamification. I wanted to make gratitude fun, and
Mhm.
Justin did it brilliantly. Like I really love how he managed to uh, make gratitude journaling and keeping the habit fun. Can you tell us a little bit about the gamification part of the app?
Yeah. First, I would just like thanks a lot for your compliment. It means a lot for coming, especially coming from you, who have so much experience with gratitude. Thanks a lot for that. And as far as gamification goes, so I thought about my childhood, right? Like if when you play video games, you're just so into it. You're just it's just like no one when you're playing as a child, no one forces you, like no one has to tell you, hey, go play. You just go play. It's just something you do for fun, for your personal fulfillment. And one of the things that happen with gratitude journals in general is that people get tired of it. There are two problems. One is a blank page is scary. Like, I mean, yeah, yes, there are things I can be grateful for, but if you're just giving me a blank page, it's hard for me to reflect. Maybe I can do it the first day, maybe I can do the second day, but after about 3-4 days, it's hard to reflect on. So I solved that problem by giving daily prompts. So I help you guide you through the journey with prompts. And the second one is you need constant motivations to push yourself with streaks like Instagram. Instagram uses streaks to keep people. Not Instagram. It's, I think, Snapchat. Snapchat uses streaks to keep people in touch with each other. So I copied the idea from Snapchat to have streaks, and people love this. People love the streaks. It's just like it's weird. Like I try so hard to keep my streak. It's even though I made it, I know it's just a game. But I want to keep my streak every day. So every day, even if there's something I'm super busy, I find a way to make some 10 minutes of 5 minutes of time to write a journal and keep my streak going. So that's an important gamification component. Another one is you unlock medallions. You unlock medallions, and you as you progress, you can see you can get level up. There are lots of levels to get to, and it's a fun little game. So for me, this was, as much as it is a programming project, for me it was a creative project. I wanted to make this a fun experience. Well, how can I make an app that is like enjoyable to use, to make gratitude as much fun as possible? And I think the gamification element plays a main role in just making this a good experience for the users.
Definitely, it sure is. And I think it's such an important component. The fact that you see that you're growing, the fact that you see
Mm-hmm.
that you're making progress with the streak,
Mm-hmm.
you get a really cool, like, um, I don't know. I think it's a flame or something. Yeah, it's a flame,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you get the number of days in which you actually wrote down in your gratitude journal, and you see your progress. You see the fact that you're moving forward, um, that you're doing this, and you feel that you feel empowered, and I love that. And another cool feature that you have, and I think that's so important. It's one of the reasons, uh, like, the problem with this is the reason why I don't like challenges like 21 days gratitude challenge or challenges in general, is because if you miss a day, you don't feel motivated to continue. Like, you have to do it every single day, and if you don't, your streak is gone, the 21 days are gone, and
Mm-hmm.
you just quit. Or at least this
Mm-hmm.
is what happened to me in the past with these kinds of challenges. And the cool thing about the app is that it gives you a buffer. It gives you the possibility of missing a day, and you can
Mm-hmm.
continue your streak. And I think this is really motivating. Like, things might happen. You might have really busy days, and you might not actually get to do it one day, but you still keep your progress. And I think this is very important, because this is how we work as humans. Like, even if we want to do something each and every day, if we miss a day, that doesn't mean that we this is it. Like, we are we have not done any kind of progress. We actually did, but we just
Mm-hmm.
missed a day. And I think this is really cool when it comes to seeing progress and to feeling good about ourselves with this, right?
It's interesting you mentioned 21-day gratitude challenge, because I don't know if you knew this, that my app was called 21 days gratitude challenge when I first released it, and it
I
was
didn't.
it was just a 21. It was, so I when I first released it, I was like I was trying to figure out how the product was going to be, and it was just what you said. It was 21 days, and I came across the same problem you mentioned, and people complained about the same thing. And I saw a big loss anytime people missed a day. They just said, "Hey, they lose motivation," and they didn't have a reason to continue it. And that's what pushed me towards making more a gamification element, and adding more features to make it more interactive and as such. Because uh, building a new habit, because gratitude has to be a habit. It's not, you cannot just write three things about why I'm grateful for right now and forget about it, because it's easy to be grateful when everything's going right for you, right? I mean, anyone can appreciate all the beautiful things in life, and life is perfect for you. But the practice is to create a mindset where you get to a point where no matter what life throws at you, you can find a way to find gratitude in there. Because no matter how bad you have it, there is someone who has it worse than you, like someone who would love to be in your position, and your car breaks down, your boss yells at you, someone calls you a terrible name, whatever it is, there is someone who's struggling to feed their family, or like, so you always have something to be grateful for. And the purpose of the practice of daily journaling is to change this mindset, right? The first thought that comes to your mind when something bad happens to you, uh, that's what we're trying to change with the journaling practice. So for example, like literally like a few days ago, my what happened, okay, I was writing, I was writing on a notebook, and had coffee, and coffee spilled all over my notebook, and it was just like completely, all my notes were gone. At that second, the first thing that came to my mind is, thank god the coffee didn't fall on my computer, which is right next to it. So I mean, like that's like an automatic response, right? Like that's not like I didn't think, like I didn't go to a journal and I didn't write about it, it just automatically comes. So that's part of what happens when you consistently practice on cultivating an attitude of gratitude. Because the first response that comes when something bad happens, that's what we're trying to change, or motivate with this app. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's one of my goals with the gratitude podcast as well. Like cultivating the habit of being grateful is something really amazing. Like it amplifies the happiness when you are happy,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also extremely useful when you're down, when things aren't going great, or when
Mm-hmm.
bad things happen, because this is life. Like nobody's life is perfect, only on Instagram maybe.
Yeah,
And
I think.
when things happen, it's great to have this life tool with you all the time.
Yeah, I really believe it's a very powerful tool. And I mean, we know this from research in all around the world, but this is also a big part of ancient philosophies, whether you're talking about Buddhism or Stoicism or all this. I think one of the concepts that has very big parallels to it is just a Latin phrase called amor fati, which is basically means love your fate, which means whatever happens to you, whatever life throws at you, you have to find a way to love your fate. And I think there's a story about, I mean, Edison, which is I associate with Amor Fati quite often. Is when he was 67 years old, once he was a great inventor, he had a big company, and one day he was just having dinner with his family, and all of a sudden he gets a call, and they say there's a fire in his company. This and his entire what he worked for his entire life up to that 67 years of life was burning in flames in front of it. He was standing there in front of it, and his son comes up to him, and he's crying, and he says to his son, go get your mom, go get your mom and her friends. They will never see a flame like this again. We just got rid of a lot of rubbish. We can start over again. and he started over again and built a company that's 3 times as bigger, right? And I mean, and that's another power of gratitude, because once you have that mindset, you have the resiliency to start back up and, build your life back. Whatever life throws back at you, have, it's bad, but I can find a way to rise above it. It's not the worst thing in the world, and that attitude always helps to bounce back.
Wow, I didn't know this story, and I think it's really inspiring. Like it gives you something really visual, like the factory burning down, and him actually being able to find gratitude and find the resiliency and the resources to create something even better.
Mm-hmm.
If we look at it like from afar, we might think, okay, it's just because he's Edison and he's special. But when these things happen, we have two choices. We can feel that fate is bad with us. We have bad karma, and there's nothing we can do about it. Or we can find the resiliency and the resources and see the opportunity to create something even better, even bigger. And I love this. I love this.
Yeah, and that needs to be it needs to be cultivated beforehand. Like, you don't take an insurance after something happens, right? You take it's something that needs to be practiced in when your life is going well, and it's like a protection. I think there's also research about how it reduces the chances of likelihood of depression. Just having a gratitude practice reduces the chances of depression. So I mean, we are not robots, right? We have bad days. We have life. All of us have problems, no matter how rich or whatever you do. I'm traveling around the world. I'm doing, like, from the outside, it seems like everything's perfect, but of course I have, like, if there's so many problems, and there's so many, every day there's a challenge that I need to overcome. And if you have this attitude, it makes life just so much more like, it makes life so much more fun and worthwhile to go through. Like, instead of just fighting against every bad thing that happens, you just accept it and you find a way to get over it, instead of crying over it. Because what use does it give you to cry over something that's gone wrong, right? Like, it's a waste of time. Like, the opposite of gratitude is just waste of time, right? It's like you're spending time doing something that's not useful. Like, if you're grateful, I mean, first, it's useful because you feel good, and second, it's useful because you get the resources to do something productive with it. And yeah, it's just, I think it's a very powerful tool, and that's why you see so much. There's so much growth in this field, right? Like, in positive psychology, especially, one of the things you notice is, right, especially in psychology, all the whole field, research is not replicable. Like, someone does one research in one part of the world and they do it in some other part of the world. There's, like, they can't replicate it. They call it the replication crisis in psychology, and it's a big problem. But the one thing that's constant, that's been replicated over and over again all over the world, is gratitude. It works because it's just like, for whatever reason, it's built into our genetic makeup. And it's a powerful tool, and I'm glad I stumbled into it randomly in that day in Colombia.
Yeah, that's amazing. And basically, this is what we're doing here, and we're helping you, the listener, and probably the user, the new user of the app, to cultivate this habit. And I I totally recommend the app, and I will start um, telling you more about the app as we go on in the episodes of the Gratitude Podcast, because I really believe that the Gratitude Podcast, along with the 365 Gratitude Journal, it's a combination that can really change your life, even though each of them can by themselves, but the combination, I think, can be really powerful for you, the listener. And I'm really looking forward to where this will take us, because I think we can do amazing things together.
Yeah, I agree. It's uh the the more the different if the more different ways you have of receiving this information, the better it is, because it's your brain works in different ways, right? It's just you have to get in receive information different way, and listening to gratitude podcast is an excellent, is a sensory, it's from your ears, and you perceive it, and it's a great way to build the gratitude muscle. And now when you're writing it in a journal, it's another sensory way, right? You are writing it down with your hand, and like, so the more senses you use to understand and to really cultivate gratitude, the more stronger this habit comes into your life. Yeah.
Exactly. So we are nearing the end of our time together, and I wanted to ask you, what are you grateful for in your life right now, and who are the people in your life that you're grateful for?
um right now I'm really grateful that I have the opportunity to work on this app and make a living doing what I love, which is I love programming, and I love finding a way to help people. So it's just like a magic. It's like a best of both worlds for me. So I'm glad I can do that for a living, and that's what I'm most grateful for right now. And who am I most grateful for? I guess I have to say I'm most grateful for my parents, because as I said, we moved around a lot, and it created a lot of it was hard for as a kid to constantly move, but uh, they were they taught me, they gave me the necessary skills to teach me, to put me in a position to succeed, to give me the right education, and to have unconditional love. So I'm grateful for the sacrifices they made, because every time they move because of for us, for their kids, right? Because they were comfortable wherever they were, whether they were in Saudi or India, but every time they moved, they said, hey, this will give a better opportunity for the children, and they did it for the children, and I'm grateful that they did that. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It's actually thanks to them that the app got created, right? Like the fact that
Yeah.
you got a good education, and
Yeah.
uh, and everything, like everything fell
and
into
and
place.
Yeah, and my dad is also, I guess, a great example of gratitude, because he's just, no matter what happens, he just always finds a way to, make it positive, put a positive spin on it. It's just like, it's like the Edison. If he wasn't that Edison's position, he would be like laughing and doing something funny. That's what, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So thank you so much for being here with us. I'm really glad that we got this time to talk about your journey, about the app. Our listeners can find the app on Android, on iPhone, hopefully soon on desktop as well, right?
Yeah, so we are working on the desktop version. It should be. Uh, I don't have exact date, but in the upcoming months we'll have the desktop version as well. It's available on Android and iOS. You just search for 365 gratitude, and you will see it there. It's Yeah, try it out and let me know. Let me know what you think.
Awesome. Um, and another thing that I really love about this app and about Justin, he's really open to suggestions, to ideas. We had a talk yesterday, and I gave him some ideas and some suggestions, and he was really open to them. And he's always improving the app, which is amazing. And I'm guessing I have to ask Justin, but he can say if it's a yes or a no. He will be open to suggestions from you too. So if you're using the app and you have ideas, I guess you can write an email to Justin and let him know, right?
Yeah, in fact, like almost most of my ideas have come from my users, and it's a virtuous cycle where they ask, because they tell me what they want, and if I get If I get 2 or 3 users saying the same thing, then I know that's something that I need to build. And actually I made it very convenient because there's if you go to within the app itself, there's a contact developer button, and so you can just reach out to me within the app, and I will respond to you through email, and figure out how to incorporate it in the app. And yeah, I really look forward to hearing from the users, because uh, almost all the best features of the app, including gratitude jar, community, the prompts, everything originated from like users' ideas. So I really value them, and it's a major source of ideas for me.
Awesome. So that's great, right? Like you can actually add to the app and make it even better for you and for other users. I think that's amazing, and I really love the app and what Justin was able to do. I wanted to create an app, but like this, but I'm really happy that Justin did that already, and I think from some points of view, he did it even better than I thought that I could. So that's quite amazing. Like Justin said, you can go either on Android or on iOS and get the 365 gratitude app on your phone. Start using it. Get to as many days as possible as a streak, and enjoy the benefits. Right.
Yeah, it's fun. I've made it fun. I've made it easy to accessible to everyone, and I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. I'm sure you guys have a lot of interesting feedback, and I'm excited to hear from you guys.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being here with us, and I wish you an amazing day. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our weekly podcast. Help us reach our goal of inspiring 100,000 people by sharing this podcast with your loved ones, with your Facebook friends. And if you loved this episode, please write a review on iTunes.